So you've built your model, you've painted your model, and you're ready to put the decals on. Today I'm going to show you how to do it. Hi there, James here, welcome to another video. I've had a few requests over the last couple of weeks about how to put decals on. So this is specifically regarding model warships, but it's exactly the same process, and every single model kit normally has the same sort of thing. So what do you need? You need a few bits and pieces first in order to get your decals down. So you need some water, easily available. You need a knife to be able to cut the decals off, good pair of tweezers, paintbrush, a couple of Q-tips, and then lastly some decal fluid. I recommend either the Tamiya Strong Mark Fit, or my preferred armament is the Micro Sole and Set, the two-part piece. Basically what Micro Set does is, well, let's have a look. This exactly says brush Micro Set on the model when the decal is to be applied, then dip the decal and slide off the backing paper to position on the model. So basically this loosens everything up and starts making it pull down onto the actual model, so it sort of gets through some of the water and sort of really attaches itself to the plastic underneath. And then once that's a bit dry, you use part two, which is Micro Sole, and basically this really softens up the decal. So what this does is, while it's being pulled down, it also sort of loosens up the adhesiveness and the actual fibres within the decal, so that it really sort of gets into all the nooks and crannies on the model underneath. So this is what I'm going to try and do. This is the island, the superstructure of the USS Wasp, an amphibious assault ship used by the United States Navy. I've painted it, I've built it obviously, and this is the most important thing. If you remember nothing else from today, you need to be able to put the decals onto gloss varnish. Very, very important. So I put 2 coats of Hombrol gloss varnish here, and it's also a big thing to remember. There's a big difference in varnish terms between drying and being cured. So while you can spray this down and it would be touch dry within probably an hour, 45 minutes, that doesn't necessarily mean it's absolutely cured. An easy way to tell is if you scratch it very gently with your fingernail. If you can still scratch it, it's not cured yet, because obviously being a varnish, it protects all the plastic and the paintwork you spent ages putting together, and you want to make sure it's all nice and safe. So just as a nice safety reminder, I'd say always put gloss coat down, and definitely wait at least 24 hours before you put the decals on. So thankfully it's a nice warm day, these cured overnight, and we're ready to rock and roll. Put them in the water. And just to be good, make sure you push the decal down to the bottom of the water so it's all nice and soaked. And then you need to move over to your model. So as I said before, I'm going to use Micro Sole and Set for this. So what you need to do first is get hold of your Micro Set, and basically you need to use your small brush and put the decal solution over the top of the plastic where you want the model to go. So not water, but you use the decal Micro Set first. So I want this to go here. And while they're not the cheapest of things to buy, I've had this particular set of 2 bottles for about 10 years now, and I'm only halfway through. So just apply it on there. It's got a bit of a whiff to it, so you might want to open a few windows if you haven't. So next, you get your decal out of the water, and then you just want to hold it with your tweezers. Give it a little jig around with the edge of your finger, and you want it to be able to move freely, so that's all looking nice. And then you very delicately place it on your model. So let's put this, yes, obviously you want to put it on top of where you applied the decal solution, and then move it into position with your tweezers or a brush, whatever you may feel more comfortable with, and make sure that you're nice and happy with the position. Okay, so once that's done, what you want to do is use your cotton bud and basically try and mop up as much of the excess liquid as you can. Not too much, because you want it to actually be able to pull the decal down, but enough to make sure you don't get any spills on the bottom. So while that's drying, I'm going to flip this around, do the other side, and then we'll come back to it in a few minutes. Okay, now this will be quite good. So this is a good demonstration of what this stuff does. So as you can see here, the number 1 actually sits across 2 horizontal pipes or bars here. So the idea of this setting solution is it basically will try and sort of conform around those bars. So that's nicely in position now. Let's mop up a bit of the excess. So that's that one done. So we now have both sides, number 1 there and a number 1 there. So this is the first one we did. So let's go back to this, and what we're going to do is use now the other half of the setting solution. This is the micro sole. So again, put a bit more on your brush. Try and wipe off any. If you use the same brush between the 2 sets, just give it a rinse in the water, but don't really need to worry too much, just so you don't mix it up. And then put a splodge over there. So that's that side done. And then again on the other side. Okay, now this is very, very important as well. Now you just need to leave it alone. Don't touch it, because as soon as this stuff starts to work, the decal will start to basically decompose a little bit and start to soften up, and if you start moving it around now, it'll just probably destroy itself. So just leave it, give it a good couple of hours, come back to it and see how it looks. And there you have it. All the decals are now done. They've been micro-setted, they've been micro-soled, and going to leave them to dry for a good couple of hours before even thinking about anything else. Some more complicated shapes, like going over some of this pipe work here, you might need to put another coat or 2 of micro-sole on, but it's entirely have to see how it gets on with your particular model. So 1 coat might not always be enough, and you can always put a couple more on if you want. Key is after that, let it dry for a while, at least 24 hours, maybe a little bit less in the sunshine in the summer. But you need to give it a good few hours to dry at least. Then next important thing again is to put another gloss coat on. If you can do some weathering, some rusting or some washing, you need to have all your decals protected behind a gloss coat. So obviously you need the decals to dry, be able to do that. So there you go, pretty straightforward. Just take your time, get a few tools together, put some music on, and you'll have your decals looking absolutely ship-shape in no time. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing for more tips like this. Currently working on the USS Wasp, and as you can see here, and that finale video is going to come soon. So thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.